friends, and welcome to another video. Today we are going to be looking into another witchy sort of video, and today's video will be revolving around the legend of a local witch in Maryland who was burned out of her house, found frozen to a rock, but not before she was said to have cast a curse upon the entire town. The legend goes that Moll Dyer lived in Leonardtown, Maryland in the late 1600s and was described by the locals as an old hag who lived in a rundown house. She'd come over from Ireland by herself and appeared to have a very mysterious past. The locals all but shunned her because she was tall and was said to have had a scary look upon her face. That, and because she was said to be an herbal healer, which caused some of the town people to believe that she might be a witch, since the stigma of the Salem witch trials was still flowing throughout that area. She was said to wander around the woods during the summer gathering plants, and would sometimes ask her neighbors for money, which many of them were afraid to say no to her in fear of what she could potentially do to them, even though she would often assist the townspeople in their ailments and help to cure them. Then a terrible winter storm hit the village that winter, covering everything in snow, and the temperature was so cold that cattle and sheep were found frozen to death in the fields. Times were hard enough during this period, with food being scarce and people falling ill all around them. And the people of Leonardtown weren't sure how they were going to survive after this freak storm. So, desperate and angry, they decided to take their blame onto the Witch of the Woods, saying that it was she who had caused the blizzards to hit, and that she needed to pay for her crime. It was only a few years after the Salem witch trials at this point, so while they were over, it certainly wouldn't be hard to believe that that mindset would still be lingering around New England. And unfortunately, women who were independent, who lived alone, who were childless, all of these things plus others made women like Moll easy targets. So the townspeople lit their torches and marched to Moll's house, where they set it aflame. Moll had no trial, no opportunity to defend herself. They just wanted her dead. They could be heard chanting, "Burn the witch," as the fire swept through her house. But Moll had escaped the inferno and had instead run into the woods, not stopping until she physically could not run anymore, with her bare face, hands, and feet exposed to the elements. A few days later, a boy was searching through the woods for his lost cattle when he came upon a woman kneeling on a rock with an arm extended to the sky. On closer inspection, he discovered the body of Moll Dyer, who'd frozen to death on this rock, arm raised as though she was cursing the people of the town who had caused this to happen to her. And after the snow melted, the fields in Leonardtown never grew again, and thunderstorms were said to have plagued the town. People reported seeing the ghost of Moll Dyer wandering through the area of the forest where she died on the coldest nights of the year, and the reported sightings of Moll are actually attributed to being part of the inspiration to the plot of the 1999 movie The Blair Witch Project. A writer for a newspaper visited the town in the 1970s after hearing the legend of Moll Dyer, and through talking to the locals, found the rock where Moll was said to have died upon. He said that an imprint of her hand and knee were still embedded into the rock even to that day. The writer then had the rock moved to the old jail in town in commemoration to the woman who died just for being herself. A woman who most likely had no more association with witchcraft than any of the other women and men who were accused and executed of witchcraft in the Salem witch trials. And regardless of whether or not that story is true, there is a rock dedicated to Moll Dyer in Leonardtown in that exact spot outside the jail that you can go and visit if you're ever in that area. And if you look closely, the markings on the rock do look like they could have been pressed in by fingers, though I'm sure it's not actually her handprint, but rather just small impacts in the rock, but still makes for a cool story to tell. Apparently some people even report feelings of unease and even physical aches and pains when standing near the rock, with cameras also being said to stop working when someone gets too close to take a picture. There's also a road near to where Moll was said to have lived called Moll Dyer Road, where the wooded area is split by a small creek. People who would walk or drive around that area these days would report lightning seemingly coming out of nowhere, and hunters have claimed to have seen Moll's ghost wandering about the road, searching for the men who burned down her house. Apparently, there are also an uncharacteristically high number of car accidents on this road as well. The Weather Channel ran a series called American Supernatural, and an episode in 2014 featured Moll's story, as well as there being a number of books and stories published about her legend. There isn't any record or evidence of Moll Dyer ever having existed, though reportedly there are documents stating that a Dyer family did live in Leonardtown during the 1600s, with one of the family members being named Mary, and apparently Moll used to be a nickname for Mary. A great epidemic was found listed in the Maryland archives for that area during the winter of 1697 and 1698. And trials for witches in Maryland actually went on until 1712. So there very well could be the possibility that Moll Dyer was a real person who had died under extremely tragic and unfair circumstances. It's crazy how something as small as not 100% conforming to the social norms during the 17th century could mark you as a witch by your neighbors. I feel like if this were the case today, pretty much all of us would be considered witches in one way or another. And it's really sad because I'm sure there are a lot of cases like this that are real, even if Moll Dyer's wasn't. But I would love to know your thoughts on this legend. I feel like whenever I make a video about an urban legend involving a witch, it all comes down to the townspeople not liking a particular woman due to her being off the beaten path. So please let me know what you think of this story, and if you are new to my channel, please give this video a like and subscribe if you have not already. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.